In the kitchen, he picked me up by my throat and he held me up against the wall. There was another time that he pinned me down in the bathroom and smashed my head into the floor. There was one time I hit him back and he lost it on me. That night he punched me like a whole bunch of times, like in my legs and like my stomach.
Before we begin, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth true crime stories and investigations. Your support helps us bring these important stories to light.
In the kitchen, he picked me up by my throat and he held me up against the wall. There was another time that he pinned me down in the bathroom and smashed my head into the floor. There was one time I hit him back and he lost it on me. That night he punched me like a whole bunch of times, like in my legs and like my stomach. He pinned me in the bedroom up against the dresser in the bed, and like he choked me and he kept smacking me, and I had bruises everywhere, like I could barely move the next day. I was so bruised up.
This is Amanda Nover. She is recounting how her husband of 14 months abused her, but she's holding back the whole truth.
I think your story is very accurate, but I think you're leaving out something. A few little parts in there.
Amanda's confession revealed a shocking and callous crime.
Honestly, it looked like he was dragging something. I think he was dragging one of them.
What he's dragging? He's dragging a body up there.
Before we begin, we would like to extend our deepest sympathies to the family and loved ones of the victims in this case, James and Michelle Butler. James Butler was a U.S. Navy veteran who served his country for 21 years. He worked as an air traffic controller on the USS Enterprise, a carrier based in Virginia at Naval Station Norfolk, the largest naval complex in the world. James had been decorated with 10 medals and awards of achievement. He had a big life for a baby that started out small. He weighed just 2 pounds when he was born in 1970. In 2010, James retired from the Navy and moved back to his hometown of Rumney, New Hampshire to spend time with his mother, who was battling cancer. He would take her out to play darts. On one of their outings, Cupid's arrow struck James. He met Michelle, and it was love at first sight. They dated for 5 years and married in 2015. 3 years later, James and Michelle decided to make their shared dream come true. They moved into a trailer and hit the road with their 3 cats, Gizmo, Moana, and Chloe. Even though they were on the move, the Butlers kept in touch faithfully with their loved ones. They had 5 adult children from previous relationships. Michelle had 3 sons, and James had a son and a daughter. In mid-October of 2019, James and Michelle arrived on Padre Island, Texas. Michelle posted this update to her Facebook page on October the 15th to announce their arrival. They were planning to head to New Orleans next and then on to Fort Lauderdale, where they would be managing a Christmas tree farm. Padre Island is the longest barrier island on Earth. It attracts vacationers to miles of white sandy beaches on a relatively undeveloped coastline known for its natural beauty and rich ecosystems. The Butlers set up camp at a desolate spot on the beach known as The Bowl, about 3 miles south of Bob Hall Pier. The site is called The Bowl because over time waves have carved a depression into the sand dunes. James took this photo of Michelle enjoying their view of the ocean. It was one of the last happy moments they would enjoy before terror struck. James and Michelle couldn't have known that Padre Island would be their final stop. They were about to cross paths with another married couple on a radically different journey. On the afternoon of October the 16th, Michelle Butler sent a text to a friend. That was the last time anyone heard from the Butlers. Their kids started getting worried when FaceTime calls went unanswered. A week later, on October the 23rd, they filed a missing persons report with the Clayburgh County Sheriff's Office. Police pinged the Butlers' phones and learned that they never left the bowl. They started searching the beach for signs of a burial site. On October the 27th, police found a bra in the sand. When they looked closer, they saw a rib bone poking up. They began to dig and unearthed the body of Michelle in a shallow grave in the sand near their last known campsite. The following day, they found James nearby. Investigators caught a break when they learned that a security camera at a toll booth at the Mexican border had captured an image on October the 21st of an unidentified man and woman in the Butler's 2018 silver Chevrolet four-door pickup truck towing their Cedar Creek trailer. They were in Eagle Pass, Texas, and had crossed the border into Piedras Negras, Mexico. The fugitives had a week-long head start on law enforcement. They fled deep into Mexico, driving more than 700 miles to the state of Jalisco. They planned to keep heading south and eventually disappear into South America. Knowing they needed to act fast, Clayburgh County Sheriff's Office leaked the security camera photo of the couple on the run to the Associated Press newswire, hoping it would be picked up by Mexican media outlets. And it was. When the man in the surveillance photo attempted to sell the Butler's trailer to the owner of an RV park, he recognized him and contacted law enforcement. Sheriff Kirkpatrick reached out to several colleagues from the U.S. Marshals Service, who he had known for years, and made an urgent request. He said, "Hey, I need a favor. I know where this individual is and I need him captured, and I don't care what you gotta do to do it. I don't care how you do it. I just want him back in our custody." The U.S. Marshals did not hesitate to act. They had a team standing by in Guadalajara, the capital city of Jalisco, and they told the sheriff they would get him back in a couple of hours. It wasn't long before Sheriff Kirkpatrick's phone had a message alert. He opened it, and the only thing he saw was a photo of Adam Williams, handcuffed, lying on the floor of the trailer. The sheriff was elated. He called it an unbelievable feeling. The marshals had raided the RV park and had caught the couple by surprise. They took them into custody without incident. The peaceful capture of Adam Curtis Williams and Amanda Louise Nover was even more critical because they weren't traveling alone. Amanda's 3-year-old daughter from a previous marriage was with them. Adam was separated from Amanda and her child, and they were all flown back to Houston. After landing in the U.S., Adam was transported to Clayburgh County in the back of a police car. It was a 4.5-hour ride. Adam was under heavy guard and considered extremely dangerous. Although he had no qualms about inflicting extreme pain on others, he felt entitled to complain that his handcuffs were uncomfortable.
There's supposed to be a finger in between it. There's no finger anywhere in there. Skin's so messed up from sleeping in handcuffs for 2 days. It's super tight. Can you stick your finger in between there, bro?
It's at the bottom. Yeah, let's say it's at
Some people on the street get what happened? You won't loosen this up. I've been sleeping in handcuffs.
It was close to 4 a.m. on November the 7th when Adam was finally processed into the Clayburgh County Jail. Despite the early hour, the media were there to question him.
Why did you have their truck and their trailer? Where were you going? Did you know them at all? Why did you go to Mexico? Where were you headed?
Want to put your arms up on? No, no. Thought there was more room.
As up as they go.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Tell them to put any window.
33-year-old Adam Williams is a seasoned career criminal with a long rap sheet. So when the Rangers tried to interrogate him, he knew enough to lawyer up and keep his mouth shut. But he did take notice when Texas Ranger Edward Groves mentioned capital murder.
Sit right here. Good.
we're here. Obviously, you were arrested yesterday on the warrant, and that warrant's issued out of here. It's part of an ongoing capital murder investigation, or at least a homicide investigation where we had 2 bodies. So what I want to do today is I want to talk to you. I want to tell you to tell me, because we know a bunch of facts about the case, but I've never met you before. I've never seen you. I want to know how you got to be in our investigation here today. So can you fill me in? I don't know your story. So can you tell me how we got here today?
I got a question.
Absolutely.
Capital, that means death penalty, right?
Well, so capital punishment is the death penalty. The case, we call it capital murder because in our Texas Code of Criminal Procedure and in our penal code, the way you make it to capital is a whole list of stuff. Because 2 people were killed in the same criminal incident, we believe they're killed in the same criminal event, then that would make it capital. Also because we think a robbery occurred at the time of the murder, that would make it capital. You're not being charged with that. You're charged with theft right now. But that's what the investigation is at this point. Obviously we have a homicide that occurred and we're solving that, and that's what I actually want to talk about. But right now you're being charged with theft, and I need to know how you relate in the overall scheme of what happened. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not going to say anything without a lawyer. I need to talk to a lawyer.
Okay. Do you have a lawyer that you already hired?
No.
Okay, so we'll have one appointed to you. The court system will appoint you one when we magistrate you this morning. Okay. I just want you to consider one thing. And we're not going to ask any questions, just so you'll know. I know you've got a couple of warrants and there's a couple of other things going on in your criminal history, and you've been to prison, so you're probably going back to prison. And I just want you to make some good decisions in your life when you talk to your attorney, because the next time we talk is going to be post-indictment, and your attorney's going to be here and he's going to be representing us. And in that time, I want you to think about it. You're going to have to walk the yard in a prison somewhere. So I just want you to think about the way you handle yourself on this one. Is it going to be a guy who said, I don't know anything about it, and we had to prove a case against? There's a guy who said, you know what, this, and give yourself that credibility when you get there. I've considered all the options that's probably going to happen, and I just, for your sake, I want that to be one of your things you consider, because you understand what's going to have to be when you have to walk the yard again. So
the other thing you need to consider is how you approach this is probably going to affect Amanda's time in prison as well. So you need to think about that.
All right. I appreciate you coming over here. We'll get you head back over there. Is there anything you need other than magistration attorney? We're going to get you all that. Is there anything that you're not getting there? Are you on any kind of medication? I guess you got here late, but you have to sleep and eat breakfast, I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, I haven't been given any medications yet.
Do you need medication?
Yeah.
What do you take medication for?
I take Zyprexa as an antipsychotic at night.
Okay, antipsychotic.
It's important.
It's Zyprexa?
Zyprexa.
Okay, Zyprexa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I take gabapentin for seizures.
Gabapentin for seizures, okay.
Yeah. And I take Wellbutrin.
Wellbutrin, and what is that for?
For severe depression.
For depression, okay.
PTSD.
For PTSD. Were you in the military? Where'd your PTSD from?
No, the first time was my father committed in front of me.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
When I was 14.
Oh wow.
And then in 2014 in USP Victorville, California, my cellie tried to kill me in my sleep.
Oh wow.
Cut my face, slit my throat.
Damn.
Wow.
Stabbed me in the stomach and stuff.
You've had a rough life, brother. The reason I ask is I want to make sure you get what you need. So I'll make sure that the jailers have this. We'll look into getting that to them, so they. I think they may have to have a doctor evaluate. I'm not real sure on that process.
Sure.
I just want to make sure that we're not trying to pull any fast ones. We're not trying to fool you. We've got a job to do.
I'm not trying to fuck with you either.
No.
But I gotta have a lawyer.
Absolutely. No, that's your right.
Too, you know.
Absolutely. And the next time we talk, your lawyer will have discussed it with you, and we'll have an interview. Do you have any questions of me before we end this? All right, man. Appreciate your time. Let me see these guys are ready. I don't know if we said it for the camera, but this is Investigator David Fadias of the Sheriff's Department, just in case. Great. All right. Are you okay? Are you affiliated with any gang members, any crime group? We need to separate you from anybody else back there.
No, I'm a dropout.
A dropout from who?
I was starting to be with the California brand.
in Victorville.
So the Aryan Brotherhood in California? Okay.
But
Are you gonna have problems? I'm not concerned about your history. Are you gonna have problems back here? I don't want you to get into a cell that's gonna cause problems. We have more violence in our jail.
I don't know.
We'll try and keep you
in
touch with me.
population right now?
No, that's what I'm saying. We'll try and keep you separated so we don't have any issues with
Are you in
that.
Gen Pop right now?
So if you go to a prison, you could walk the yard, or would they put you in SEG if you went to a prison right now?
In the feds?
Yeah,
SEG.
Okay. So, all right. Well, I appreciate your time. So, in the federal system, he was classified as an Aryan Brotherhood of California.
Unlike Adam, Amanda Nover was willing to cooperate and speak with the investigators without a lawyer present. Texas Ranger Edward Groves spent 2.5 hours interviewing her. She shed light on the sequence of events that led up to the double murder of the Butlers. Ranger Groves began the interview by asking 32-year-old Amanda how she first met Adam Williams. Their relationship had begun earlier that same year in February, when they were both living in Logan, Utah.
So, Amanda, you were here on a theft warrant.
Yes.
And you know that you were actually arrested in a little town in Mexico a few days ago, and got here, and we picked you up in the airplane. We're here now. But the theft warrant is based on a large investigation we're doing that involves the homicide, the murder of 2 people that we're currently working. And so you're not being charged with that, not being accused of that, but your information on the crime you're accused of is relating to it. So what I want to do is I want you to first tell me, I want you to start, you were married to, what's your husband's name?
Adam Williams.
Adam Williams. It's Adam Curtis Williams, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Adam's also in custody, and you know that. You all arrested together. Okay, what I want you to start with, we need some history on you and Adam and your relationship. So can you start with when you first met him, and then we'll work our way forward. And I may have to stop in and out to get clarification. Is that okay with you? Okay, so tell me about that.
So I first met Adam actually through Facebook.
Okay.
At Facebook and POF.
Okay.
I don't know if you...
Plenty of Fish.
Yes. And he sent me messages, and I seen his pictures, and he was covered in tattoos, and I was like, that guy's nothing but trouble, and so I ignored him for a long while. And then a friend of mine actually knew who he was and said, I think he's a good dude. And so I talked to him, and like the first message that I sent to Adam, like, he was persistent, and he's like, well, I want to meet you. And so the very first day of us even talking, he ended up coming to my house in Smithfield. Like, he was so adamant about it. Like, that's his presence. He just says something, and you just, for some reason, you just give in. Like, and I didn't even know him, and I had a couple of friends at the house though, and so I felt comfortable. And like, he came over, and I met him, and he's very like suave, I guess. He's very charismatic, and so all of his tattoos and everything, you kind of like see through all of that, and you see like this other person and everything. And so he actually came over with his cousin, and we all ended up hanging out like the entire night, and I made him dinner and everything, and we hung out, and he went home, and the next few days we talked off and on, and we started to kind of like form a relationship.
So, and I don't mean to interrupt, and I know we looked we looked into this. So the time you're still married to your ex-husband,
yes,
that y'all separated this time. So about what time was that? What
around the end of February.
End of February of this year, of 2019.
Yes.
Okay. So go ahead. So you started forming a relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
And it honestly, it just kind of, things moved quickly, it seemed. When we met, he had this rule that he could see and date anybody he wanted, but I wasn't allowed to. That, I guess, came from spending as much time in prison as he did, but I didn't.
How long was he in prison?
10 years is what I've been told, and I believe round about 10 years for selling marijuana.
For selling marijuana, okay.
Mm-hmm. And so it was kind of not the greatest in the beginning, because like he actually had another girlfriend when we met, and she knew about me and I knew about her and everything like that. And it wasn't until like a few months after him and I had been seeing each other that he decided that he wanted to be with just me, and he made that decision. Like, that was his choice to not like see any other women or sleep with any other women or anything like that, and came fully devoted to me. And then I guess because he did that, like, I don't know, maybe in a sense I felt like I owed him something, and he'd been asking me to move in with him, and I didn't want to, because I had my house, I had my space, I had my daughter and my safe place, like, and that was extremely important to me, because all through our like dating time, Adam, even though like I don't know if he was allowed to drink or not, but he would get drunk and he would black out, and when he'd black out he'd get violent. And he would turn into somebody completely different. It just completely different. But when he sobered up, he'd be back to himself and he wouldn't remember what happened. And so me selling my home, that was like a really hard thing. But I'd been a stay-at-home mom for so long, and I had just split up with my husband, and I was basically living at Adam's. And still, because I had a trailer home, I was still paying my pad rent, and I didn't quite know how I was going to keep paying pad rent, you know, being a stay-at-home mom with no job, everything like that. And so I sold my trailer and I moved in with him, and that was like, honestly, like one of the first things that I regretted mostly, because that was my safe place.
Amanda called Adam extremely rough around the edges, but insisted that he had a sweet side. She viewed him as a man with a troubled past trying to do better, someone who wanted to be a better dad to her daughter. So she made him a deal. His home only had one bedroom. If they could find a way for her daughter to have a bedroom at his place, she would move in with him. When he put up walls in the basement to create a room, she kept her part of the bargain. More than anything, Amanda wanted to stay home with her daughter. Adam said he was willing to take care of Amanda and her daughter financially. When they met, Adam was working at a chicken wings restaurant. The next day, he took a job at a bakery. Then he landed an even better job.
He did like expensive concrete floor work, and so he got a really good job, and it kind of like made me feel better because I had that like support, because I'd been a stay-at-home mom since my daughter was born, and I was used to that. And so that was comfortable. I still did the mom and the wife thing, and I think that that's what he was looking for, was somebody to take care of him, you know, to cook him dinner every night, and I would get up and make him breakfast and make him lunches and do all those little things that I think that he never had. And so I think that meant so much to him, but that was important to me to do those things because he went to work. And he did provide for and I, like, you know, if we needed something, he would make sure of that. And so that I didn't have a plan when me and my first husband separated. Like, I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what I was going to do. Like, I knew I needed to get a job and I needed to be able to support. And then I met Adam, and it just kind of, it worked out. Like, I didn't have to change my life so much, if that makes sense. Like, I got to still be that stay-at-home mom and take care of and do what I'm good at, and that's being a homemaker. Like, I'm great at it, like, and I love doing it. And so that helped so much, like, and I think that's another reason why I was so, like, drawn to the relationship, was because it didn't change things for me. Like,
You have to put her in daycare. You didn't have to go
Yeah,
do all that
yeah,
stuff.
I didn't have to, and I didn't have to do like the 9-to-5 job, which, you know, I've loved being a stay-at-home mom. I love my daughter more than anything, and so, and I got that with Adam. I got to still be stay-at-home mom, and so it definitely, like, another, like, probably one of the biggest reasons why I just kind of really grasped the relationship, if that makes sense.
Sure.
You know.
Okay.
But their relationship was turbulent. Adam behaved violently towards Amanda many times, and Amanda's dog Bella just couldn't stand by watching. She would attack Adam when he beat her. Amanda detailed some of these violent incidents to Ranger Groves. Some of what she told him was too graphic for us to share here.
Actually, I remember the actual first time that he smacked me, and that was before I sold my trailer, actually. And we were at my trailer at my house, and we had been drinking and was in bed, and I was messaging somebody on my phone, and he took my phone from me, and he got upset about one of the messages, and like he smacked me, and like he threatened me and told me that he should freaking like make it so my face was unrecognizable, and it terrified me. And I honestly, like, I waited because he held me in the bedroom, and I waited until he kind of let his guard down, and I grabbed my daughter, and because I lived in a trailer park, and I ran to my neighbor's house, and he still had my phone at that time. And like I was terrified, but I didn't want the cops to come and arrest him because like I knew his history, and I didn't want him to get in trouble. He got upset over something that was on my phone once again, and he smashed my phone, and I went to go leave, and I had made it out the front door, and he grabbed and he shut the door and he locked it. And I was standing outside, and I was screaming. I could hear her in there screaming. And like, because he knew I wouldn't leave my daughter. He knew that, like, nobody's gonna leave their child, no way. But, and I didn't have a phone, I didn't have my keys, I didn't have anything. And once again, I didn't want him to get in trouble. Like, I knew that in the morning when he sobered up, he'd be back to himself, and that he probably wouldn't remember these things. And so, you know, of course, I waited at the door, and I banged on it, and he finally, well, it was only like a minute, and he let me back in, and he tried to like calm the situation down, and I stayed. I didn't leave because actually he wouldn't let me leave. There was another time that there were a lot of times now that I'm actually thinking about it that I was gonna leave, and this was before I had sold my trailer, but I was basically living with him, and I'm not even sure what set him off. This like time he'd been drinking, but something I'd said or done, or something on my phone, he's an extremely jealous person, extremely, set him off. And he, in the kitchen, he picked me up by my throat and he held me up against the wall, and I was like kicking against him so hard because he was choking me, and when I kicked, my leg smashed into the stove, and I had a bruise like half of my thigh because of it. And he let me down finally, and I sit here and I think back now that I'm talking about all of this, and it's like, wow, like I don't know why I allowed all of this. Like, I don't know why it seems that I only like ever got up the nerve to leave when like, he would go crazy, if that makes sense. Like, there was another time that he pinned me down in the bathroom and smashed my head into the floor, which I've heard rumors that he actually did that to his girlfriend Rachel, which at the time, like, they were still dating too. There was one time I hit him back and he lost it on me. And instead of smacking me is what he called it, because he never punched me, according to him, but he lost it, and actually that night he punched me like a whole bunch of times, like in my legs and like my stomach, not in my chest or my face or anything like that. And that was once. Another time, I don't know what I did to set him off, but he pinned me in the bedroom up against the dresser in the bed, and like he choked me and he kept smacking me, and I had bruises everywhere. Like, I could barely move the next day. I was so bruised up. And I remember like telling myself, like, hey, like, I'm done, like, that's the last time. But that wasn't the last time.
While the Butlers were a happy and carefree couple on their cross-country adventure, Adam and Amanda were in an extremely different situation. They were troubled, broke, and running out of options. The newlyweds went on the run just 2 days after their marriage 6 weeks earlier.
He picked up the assault charges. Did you know when they became warrants, or did he know that when he was wanted?
In regards to the most recent assault, when the officers came and tased him and he fought back, yes, because the day we got married, we didn't do a wedding or anything. We had a few friends over to the house, and we just signed our marriage certificate and then took it. So what happened is, we signed our marriage certificate, had a person that, what are they called, that can legalize the marriage or whatever. He was there, and when Adam went to go turn the marriage certificate in and take the gentleman back that was the wedding officiant or whatever, the police showed up and said they had a warrant for his arrest. And so, like, and literally as he's coming back, he sees that there's cops outside the house, and he turns around and drives off. And so we got married on August 29th, and that's when the officers came in regards to, like, that assault. They had tacked on a new assault, and that's what they were there to pick him up on. And that was a first-degree assault, and it, not 100% sure, like, what the backing was for it, you know, but they obviously had plenty of backing on that, because he got an assault on a police officer, an assault by a prisoner. He got possession of alcohol by an interdicted person, because on his last set of charges, his DUI, he was told that he couldn't drink. He got an intoxication charge. And then I think that there was just a plain assault, and I think the just plain assault was supposed to be an assault on me.
Okay.
But I don't know fully, like, what the whole backing of that set of charges were.
When Adam realized the heat was closing in on him in Utah, he decided to take his new family on the lam rather than returning to prison. He traded Amanda's van for a 1999 Chevrolet pickup truck, and a 1974 Prowler trailer. They drove to Spokane, Washington to stay with Adam's uncle. Adam intended to be there for a while, so he started building an apartment in his uncle's garage. But when the two men got into a heated argument, the uncle told him to leave because he was scared of Adam's temper. By now, money was running out. Adam and Amanda had decided to head for Texas in hopes that Adam could pick up work under the table working at an oil rig.
So y'all leave the one spot, you're in Spokane, you decide to come to Texas. Where do you come to Texas?
I was Googling where free camping was because we had the camp trailer and that's what we'd been living in, and Padre Island was a place where you could stay for 2 weeks, and I read that there was like an RV like hookup where you could fill up water and where you could dump, and it was right on the beach. And I'm originally from California, and it'd been so long since I'd seen the ocean, like I had missed it, and I just wanted to see the ocean again. And so that's...
Did y'all come all the way from Spokane, Washington to the island?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
After 2 weeks had passed on Padre Island, Adam and Amanda were told by an officer patrolling the beach that they had overstayed their welcome. Their free 2-week camping term had ended, and it was time for them to move on. But the engine on their 20-year-old pickup truck was dying, and the tension was mounting between the newlyweds. It got so bad that Amanda went on a walk with her daughter one afternoon. She made an attempt to escape her predicament.
During that trek from where we were all the way up, somebody stopped and asked if everything was okay, and I asked them if they would take me to the nearest women's shelter. And they Googled it, and they said it was like 30 minutes away and that they couldn't because they didn't have enough time to take and I there and then for them to get back. Like, I think they were on their break or something. And I was mad. I was really mad because it took a lot of guts in my eyes for me to actually ask somebody to take me, because I feel if that person would have, I would have finally gotten away. Like, does that make sense? Like, but they didn't. But he gave me $20 and I took the pier and I got her something to eat. And I sat there and a storm was coming in and I didn't have a coat or anything like that, and I didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't want to ask somebody else. Like, I just kind of accepted defeat on that.
Okay.
Just as Adam and Amanda were trying to figure out their next move, James and Michelle arrived on Padre Island and set up camp. They had unwittingly driven directly into the eye of another kind of storm that had nothing to do with the weather. Rather, it was Adam Williams' dangerous and desperate drive to survive, no matter what the cost to someone else. Adam decided he needed a weapon. He wasn't allowed to own a gun because he was a felon, but that didn't stop him from finding a way to get one. At first, Amanda told the police that she didn't know anything about the 9mm pistol he used to shoot the Butlers in their heads. But then she came clean. After the couple arrived in Texas, they had attended a gun show in Corpus Christi. Every seller turned them down because Amanda had an out-of-state ID, until they got to the last person at the venue. He agreed to sell them a gun and ammunition.
Okay, now when he said he was going to buy a gun, what did he tell you? What was the gun for?
Because if he got stopped by the cops, he didn't want to be arrested. He said that he'd never go back to prison And so his plan was to shoot it out. And I was terrified because all I could think of was, what about Ryan and I? Like, what are you going to do? An officer comes up and you're going to pull a gun and then fire, and then they're going to return fire, and Ryan and I are going to be like...
Now that Ranger Groves had gathered background information from Amanda on how she had met Adam Williams and had covered the sequence of events that led them to Texas, he pressed her to recount the details of the crime.
We get to the laundromat and Adam says that he found a new truck and trailer because our truck was literally dying. Like the motor was blowing up on it. It was. And so I was like, okay, what do you mean? And he was very vague, and he's just like, well, I know where a new truck and trailer is, and like, you don't need to worry about it. And I didn't quite understand, you know what I mean? Like, later, so we're there, and like, I didn't press the matter or say anything else about him saying about a new truck and trailer. And then he says, well, I'm gonna unhook our trailer and we're gonna go for a ride and you're gonna drop me off. And I asked, I says, why? And he's like, well, I need to go pick up the new truck and trailer. And I'm thinking, what in the hell? No. I didn't think that Adam had done anything bad.
That night, they went back to the beach. Adam told Amanda to wait nearby their vehicle while he went to get the truck and trailer that he had chosen to be their home for the next leg of their journey.
I didn't know what was going on. And I was scared, like, because why... You know, obviously, there's not just going to be a truck and trailer sitting there that he purchased, if that makes sense.
Did you think he was going to steal one as well?
I did. 100%.
Okay.
That I'm guilty of.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't be able to stop him from anything.
Hang on just a minute.
Like...
Hang on just a minute, because when you said you stopped, you said you stopped and you stayed there for a minute.
So I dropped him off.
Hang on just a minute, because when you said that, I could see you playing it back in your mind and something bothered you about when you stopped there for a minute. Tell me what that is.
I had a bad feeling.
Okay.
Like, just to...
Where did he go when he got out of the truck? Down the beach, to the water, to the dunes?
He walked up, and then he walked down, and I remember because I drove down, there was like the truck and trailer that we ended up with back, like, and everything was dark and like you couldn't even like see it very well, but I drove past it and
there's no lights on in it?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No. That's why I didn't think so much about it, and that's why I didn't think that anybody could have gotten hurt. Does that make sense? Like, because I mean, it wasn't super late. It was like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock or something. I don't know, but that's my assumption, is that it was around that time.
So you drive on by, and where do you go?
So I drive down And I turn around, and I'm sitting there, and I'm waiting, I'm thinking, and sure enough, like, because the truck, it wasn't hooked up to the trailer, like the one that we ended up with, they weren't hooked up. And I was kind of watching him, and sure enough, like, he hooks the truck up, and he pulls out, and I'm thinking, like, holy shit, like, he's stealing somebody's freaking truck and trailer, like. And so I sat there, and then I followed him.
And just for a minute.
Yes.
When you took him to go down there, did he have the gun with him?
When I took him
To go get the truck and trailer?
I don't know.
Okay.
That I
Okay.
really don't know.
That's fine. From the time you dropped him off until the time you saw him hook up the trailer, how much time was it?
Not long. Like 15, 20 minutes.
Okay.
Not long at all.
They returned to the 24-hour laundromat where they had been loitering when they had nowhere else to go. Amanda drove the truck and trailer while Adam drove the butler's rig. When they arrived, Amanda noticed that Adam's mood had changed. He was upbeat and kept urging her to cheer up because their situation had improved.
He was being nice, actually, and he's like, come on, like, this trailer's nice, we won't have to live in that little thing anymore, like, and it was so nice. And, like...
So hang on just a minute.
Yes.
When was the first time you got in the new trailer? At the laundromat?
Yes.
Did you notice anything about it?
About the trailer?
Okay, did you notice blood or...
No.
Nothing?
Nothing like that. The only thing that I thought, like, the bedroom, like, all of the bedding was completely gone. And, like, there was a cat in there. And so it smelled like cat. But, like, because the trailer had been moved without things being put in places, it was a mess in there.
At the laundromat, they removed James and Michelle's belongings from the trailer. They took their clothes inside and put them into washing machines and closed the doors, but didn't turn them on. They tossed the rest of the butler's stuff into a dumpster behind the laundromat. The only cat still left in the trailer ran out and disappeared. It's not known what happened to the cat or the other two that had been traveling with the butlers. Adam and Amanda abandoned their own broken-down truck and dilapidated trailer in the laundromat's parking lot and drove off. Amanda had already provided Texas Ranger Groves with a lot of information up to this point in the interview. She was talkative, but it didn't escape his attention that she had skipped over the most important part of the story. What had happened to the butlers?
Thank you for telling me this. I think your story is very accurate, but I think you're leaving out something, a few little parts in there. Okay. And here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to leave out parts because, one, you think we're going to think poorly of you, or because you don't want to get in trouble. Because the only way this works is if you tell me 100% of the truth, and you know the part we're missing. Okay? Mm-hmm. So what I want to do is I want you to think very carefully, because that isn't exactly what happened when you dropped him off at the beach. It's a little bit different, okay? Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to come back to that? Here's the deal. We have to have 100% honesty.
I know. No, I know.
And I'm not going to think less of you. We understand it was a very bad situation. We understand it was very bad. But your story is very, very detailed, very accurate until we get to that part. And I know that's why.
Chance that we can take one more break?
Let's take another break.
One more smoke?
Absolutely. Okay. So let's go ahead and stop at 2:47 a.m.
After a cigarette break, Amanda laid out in more disturbing detail what had happened on the beach leading up to Adam stealing the butler's truck and trailer.
So, when I dropped him off to pick up the truck and trailer that he said he had found, and everything was dark, I did drive down, and I came back, and I parked, and I know that he removed some things from the trailer. I don't know what. I do know that. My assumption, it was because honestly my main concern was but I thinking the bedding, that type of stuff, I honestly, truthfully, I didn't ever see anything, and that's I swear on my daughter's life.
Okay, let's talk about he removed something. Okay, so how far away are you parked?
So the trailer is right here, and then the other truck is right here, and then I'm parked down.
Could he see you?
Yeah.
So he knew you were there?
Yeah.
Okay, he knows you're there.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not trying to hide from you what he's doing?
I don't think so, no.
Okay. And in your mind, you're trying to not see what you're seeing at this point?
In my mind, I'm not trying to see anything, honestly, and
So you said he removed something from the trailer?
Yes.
When you say remove something, is he carrying a box? Is he dragging something? Does he have something over his shoulder?
Honestly, it looked like he was dragging something.
Okay. Now, if I'm dragging a towel, that's one thing. If I'm dragging...
Oh, it was... that's why I'm thinking, the bedding and everything, because it was bigger.
Was it heavy?
I think so.
Okay. Okay. In your mind, you know what he was dragging, right?
When I look back now, yeah.
What's he dragging?
I think he was dragging one of them.
Okay. Okay. We know that too. In your mind, you're blocking out what he's dragging. He's dragging a body out of there. Okay? Alright, Amanda, let's talk about what happens next. And it's going to be important to me. He drags whatever he's dragging out, and then where does he go?
Goes up in the dark.
Up, you mean?
Up in the dunes.
In the dunes. Okay. And then what do you see?
Honestly, I stopped, looking.
Okay.
I stopped.
So do you think, because you're an intelligent person, you're the person, you're oh shit, you just killed these people? You're blocking this out, I don't want to see anymore? Did he tell you to wait for him while I go do this? Did you know he was
I don't, honestly, I don't, I think that he didn't kill them while I was there.
Okay.
To be honest,
Were you close enough you think you would have heard him shoot him if he had shot them?
Yeah. Because, that it's loud.
Okay.
Because when we got the gun, he fired off one round to make sure, that it worked, and it was so loud. And so, that's why I didn't think,
Looking back on it, that's what you think he was doing, was taking a body out of the trailer. How long was he gone from the time he dragged it up, you said, into the dunes? So how long was he gone from the time you dragged it up into the dunes until you saw him again?
I don't know, because
No, so here's the difference.
I wouldn't look.
No, so I'm not asking you to tell me he was gone 1 minute 42 seconds. I want to know, was he gone long enough that he just walked up there and walked back? Or was he gone for a while and then he came back?
It had to have been a while.
Did he make multiple trips?
Yeah.
To the dunes?
Yes.
What did you see him carrying? You saw something important in your mind right now.
I didn't. No, I didn't. It was similar to the first thing.
Okay.
I didn't.
So he's dragging the second thing. Does he make a trip after that?
He hooks the truck up.
Does he make a trip to the dunes? Does he go back and forth another time after he takes the two of them? The two whatever she took.
After the two, no.
Do you see anything else in his hands?
No, not that I can remember, because honestly, like, I didn't
So I want to ask you about...
I didn't want to look.
Now the situation had darkened for Amanda. She was no longer just accompanying a fugitive on parole who went on the run to escape warrants. She had become an accomplice to two ruthless murders. Texas Ranger Groves wanted to know what had happened in the aftermath.
So, you unload the stuff. What does he tell you? So, I understand you're scared of him, but there's some sort of conversation because he has now upped the ante on what y'all are doing wrong. So tell me.
He doesn't really say much.
But you ask him about it.
And he says that he did what he had to do to get us a new truck.
Okay.
And that's it.
Okay.
And I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say.
Okay. Where do y'all go?
We go somewhere else, still in Texas.
Okay.
I don't know where. I've honestly, like, I was never in charge of, like, where we went.
Subscribe now to uncover chilling true crime stories that will leave you speechless. Your support helps us bring you the most haunting cases, so hit that button and stay tuned. The sun had barely begun its descent over the Texas coastline when James and Michelle Butler, a couple known for their adventurous spirit, made their way to their temporary campsite on Padre Island. It was October of 2019, and the Butlers had been living a dream, traveling the country in their RV, capturing breathtaking landscapes, and meeting new people along the way. But their journey was about to take a nightmarish turn, one that would leave a dark stain on this peaceful seaside retreat. James, a retired Navy veteran, and Michelle, a kind-hearted woman with an infectious smile, were the epitome of a loving couple. They had embraced the nomadic lifestyle, trading a traditional home for the freedom of the open road. Their last known communication with family was on October 15th, when Michelle sent a text to her sister. Little did anyone know, that message would be their final sign of life. Days passed, and there was no word from the Butlers. Concern grew among family and friends, especially when their social media pages, once filled with updates from their travels, went silent. Calls to their phones went unanswered. Something was wrong. On October 27th, a chilling discovery shattered the peaceful landscape of Padre Island. A shallow grave, partially concealed in the sand dunes, was found near the Butlers' last known location. Inside lay the remains of James and Michelle. They had been murdered and buried in a place that once symbolized their love for adventure. The authorities were faced with a terrifying mystery: who had committed such a brutal act, and why? Investigators worked tirelessly to piece together the events leading up to the Butlers' disappearance. Surveillance footage and witness statements soon provided a break in the case. The couple's truck and RV, which they used as their mobile home, had been seen crossing into Mexico just days after they vanished. But the people behind the wheel were not James and Michelle. As the investigation intensified, the focus turned to two individuals, Adam Curtis Williams and Amanda Nover. The pair had been spotted driving the Butlers' stolen vehicles, and their movements led law enforcement to the belief that they were directly involved in the gruesome crime. Williams, a known criminal with a lengthy rap sheet, and Nover, his partner, were swiftly identified as prime suspects. A manhunt was launched, stretching from Texas into Mexico. The fugitives were eventually tracked down and apprehended. They were extradited back to the United States to face justice. But the question remained: why did they kill James and Michelle Butler? Was it a robbery gone wrong? Or was there a more sinister motive lurking beneath the surface? During the interrogation, the chilling details of the crime began to emerge. It appeared that Williams and Nover had targeted the Butlers with the intent to steal their possessions. The exact sequence of events remains murky, but what is certain is that the couple was murdered in cold blood before their killers attempted to erase all traces of their crime. The case gripped the nation, with news outlets and social media users expressing outrage over the senseless loss of 2 innocent lives. James and Michelle's family members were left shattered, struggling to comprehend the brutal fate that had befallen their loved ones. As the legal proceedings unfolded, the full weight of the crime came to light. The prosecution laid out the evidence, from forensic analysis to digital footprints that placed the killers at the scene. Williams and Nover faced the full force of the law, their attempt to escape justice thwarted by relentless investigators determined to secure justice for the Butlers. Even as the courtroom battle played out, the tragedy of James and Michelle Butler remained a harrowing reminder of the dangers that can lurk even in the most serene of places. Their love for adventure had led them to explore the beauty of the world together, but in the end, it had also brought them face to face with unimaginable evil. To this day, their memory lives on, not just as victims, but as a couple who embraced life to its fullest. Their story serves as both a cautionary tale and a testament to the fragility of safety in an unpredictable world. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to subscribe. We bring you the darkest, most gripping true crime cases, and your support helps us continue uncovering the truths hidden in the shadows.